Welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
Mm-hmm. And we talk a little NFL, so as is tradition, if we have traditions, we got to talk a little CFB, some college football.
Have to.
Championship weekend, all these classic Big 12 and Big 10 matchups featuring Oregon, Iowa State, Arizona State, whatever.
I really, right before we get into it, Andy, I saw this rant by this coach in the Big 12 recently that just like, you just got to think about it and just go, okay, Texas, a Big 12 team wins this weekend. A Big 12 team wins the SEC. Mm-hmm. Oregon wins this week. Pac-12 team wins the Big 10. It's just how it happens for every team across the nation. So it's like, who's this? Everybody saying the SEC and the Big 10 are better than everybody. You're just gobbling everybody up. Right. And then our teams are the best teams in the conference. And it's hard to. I mean,
the Pac-12 could win both the Big 12 and the Big 10.
Exactly. It's insane.
and the Big 12 could win the
the
SEC.
Big 12 could win the SEC. It's wild. Absolutely insane. But I just thought that was really funny, and it's a good rant, especially for a Big 12 coach.
Yeah, well, get used to it.
Yep.
All right, so ABC, 11 o'clock kickoff. The number 16th ranked Iowa State Cyclones, a team we've talked about a lot this year, are squaring off with the 15th ranked Arizona State Sun Devils, who quietly put together a really nice season as well, playing on the West Coast there. Are kind of lost in Arizona, 10-2. Both teams are 10-2. Let's see here. This line opened up as the Sun Devils as a 1.5-point favorite. They are now a square 2-point favorite, still under that key number of 3. I feel like a lot of folks around here are going to be betting on the Cyclones. Yeah. If for no other reason, that's the team they've seen a lot of this year.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a real tight game, I believe. Nothing really separates the team, these two teams. Both teams average precisely 32 points a game, Andy. These two teams have really good receiving options and, quarterbacks that are playing pretty good ball right now, Andy. So, I mean, this game is expected to be close. Arizona State has shown that it can perform under pressure, especially in the fourth quarter, which I believe might be the key to this game. And I think the reason that they're getting that 2-point favoritism.
Yeah, the Big 12's no joke. They have 4 teams, that are 7-2 in the conference. Yeah. And that includes Colorado and BYU and then these two teams. Interestingly enough, ESPN Analytics, their matchup predictor, actually has Arizona State as the underdog with only a 44.9% chance to win, meaning Iowa State has a 55.1% chance of winning. You look at something like that and you're thinking, okay, then shouldn't the Cyclones be catching those points?
Yeah, no, I just really believe that the most thing that the reason that Vegas is pushing it this way is the Sun Devils came in with a record of 6-1 in games that are decided by one score. And everybody thinks it's going to be real tight. Goal. And I believe Arizona State wins that by a field goal, which would mean they cover.
The total's actually been bet down a little bit here to 49.5.
Yeah, I do not like that, Andy. I believe there's going to be points. I like the over. I'm thinking 28, 25, 28, 24, right in that area. Yeah. I believe the over hits.
And you mentioned that both teams average 32 points per game.
Correct.
I mean, so that's 64, right?
Yep, that is.
And I don't think just because it's a championship game, the Big 12 is going to decide, hey, maybe now we should play defense.
Let's play some D. No.
Let's get the fans what they want,
These guys have some really good offensive players. I believe the over is probably the smart pick in the game if you don't want to jump on either side. But I do believe Arizona State, with that record of 6-1, games decided by one score, really helps them. That's the reason that they're there.
All right, should we move on to the SEC Championship at 3 o'clock kickoff? It's the rematch. The Georgia Bulldogs are taking on the Texas Longhorns. Your Longhorns are your 2.5-point favorite amongst most books. What is going on here? Didn't Georgia already cover once?
Yeah.
Oh, they won outright.
They won outright.
By a couple of scores over Texas mid-season, but they are still your 2.5-point underdog.
Yeah, and a lot of people, a lot of books have this at 3 already, Andy.
Wow. Oh, boy.
Putting some more money on Texas. I love the Georgia Bulldog money line. It's at plus 125 right now. I believe it'll probably raise to plus 150 by the time this actually kicks off.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be counting out Georgia, but I think they find success here, Andy.
Yeah.
They might not be the same team of Georgia past, but don't let it fool you. They are just as talented as the Longhorns. This game is going to be played in Georgia, which could help the fans on their side of the stadium. Carson Beck is going to have a big game here, Andy.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to come. They're going to win.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to win. Back Georgia money line to cash in big on Championship Saturday.
You hate to single out one guy, but Carson Beck's really been the Achilles heel of Georgia early on in the season.
Yeah.
Last 3 games, though, he is on fire.
Of course.
11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And guess what? Georgia, for all their, this and that, they show up for these big games.
They do.
They've already covered against Texas, Tennessee, and Clemson. And like we mentioned earlier, an outright win versus Texas. Give me the Dogs as well.
Give me the Dogs.
The traditional SEC team feels like they're going to win the SEC once again. I remember when Nebraska tried to win the Big Ten in their first year.
It did not work.
Didn't quite go the way we hoped it would go there.
Yeah, and it just seems like, I believe this is a little bit of an inflated score too, Andy, with 49.5 points right now.
Yeah.
Some books still at 50. I don't know if these teams are going to score that much, but maybe I'm wrong. But I would side with the under if I was going to go anywhere. The whole thing is that both of these teams are averaging 34 points a game.
They're
but
scoring a
I
lot.
just believe in this championship game, things got to get a little tighter and a little slower, especially with Texas only giving up 12 points per game.
How many overtimes did Georgia and Georgia Tech go into last week?
So many.
I think it was 8 overtimes. So that helps you put up 44 points.
That over should not have hit. Yes.
When you get into that
2 points a time.
When
Jeez.
you get into that 8th overtime, that kind of helps out the over.
It is insane. But no, I just think it's going to be a little tighter. I know most people will probably be going on that over because of these 2 explosive quarterbacks, the way that they're playing.
Right on. All right, should we move on to the Big Ten?
Let's go.
CBS, 7 o'clock kickoff. The number 3 Penn State Nittany Lions. It's just like they're the last team standing, right? They're always kind of in the mix, but you feel like they're on the outside looking in. They're 11-1, and they have a chance here, a real good shot, taking on the Oregon Ducks, who are now your number 1 ranked team in the nation at 12-0. And hey, they beat everybody you put in front of them.
They did.
It's hard to take anything away from Oregon. You like to poke holes in their defense. You like to say, oh, they don't have this or that on the edge rush. No.
Yeah.
They're 12-0. They beat Ohio State. They beat everybody else. They're 12-0, and they are your 3.5. This is. Yes, we've seen some money moving on Oregon here.
Yeah.
They're your 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Andy. It just kind of seems like it's an underwhelming, finish to the Big Ten, season. Like you were saying, the Nittany Lions played an overall easy game against a struggling Maryland team last week, kind of, putting it on them. And like you said, as for Oregon, they've had a few close finishes,
Sure.
Specifically games against Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Boise State, all decided by 3 points or fewer.
Yeah.
The Ducks have had enough second half resilience to pull out these victories, which I believe I think that they might steamroll these guys in the Big Ten championship. A lot of people are going on that Penn State line with that vig at plus 3.5. Yeah. I believe they beat this team by a touchdown, probably 2. I love the Ducks in this matchup.
The public money agrees with you.
Yeah.
It's money rushing in on Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. But I don't know how much more there's going to be with this 3.5. If it gets close to 4 or 5 or whatever it's going to be, I just believe that they are going. I don't believe it's going to be a shootout. I don't know if Penn State can go into a shootout with Oregon and stay close. So I like Oregon by a lot. But, I mean, Penn State last 8 games against ranked teams have gone over the total point line. So maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Hey, they scored 49 against Purdue. That doesn't say much, but they did score 35. Penn State scored 35 against Washington.
Yeah.
And then 44 against Maryland. I don't know how much stock he can put in that. But against Ohio State, a month ago almost, they only scored 13 points.
Yeah, exactly.
They couldn't even get 2
that's
touchdowns
why
in.
I'm having a hard time with it, Andy. It just I just don't believe if they need to score fast and a lot against Oregon, it's not gonna happen for them.
Once again, the public money is going with you here, being bet down from 50 and a half down to 49 and a half, and it'll keep on. It's going to keep on dropping if that's what we're looking at. I think with Oregon, it was that they just didn't play well early in the season.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't shake that.
Mm-hmm.
They only beat Idaho by 10.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
that was the very first game of the season.
This is supposed to be the world beaters. Never lost a game, but everybody's up in arms because they're not blowing people out. You don't have to blow people out to get to the college football playoff. All you got to do is win.
True.
And they are 12-0. Nittany Lions 11-1. Probably both going to be there, obviously, at the college football playoff. But I like Oregon big here. I think this is a chance for them to really show people that they deserve the number one overall seed and get it here.
Yeah, I mean that's where they're at. And that's I feel like that's just manufactured news. Nothing about nothing. Look, everyone fighting over the college football playoff predictor
for sure.
Once again, the number cruncher magic machine that is ESPN Analytics has the underdog has the favorite as the underdog as far as matchup predictor who's going to win.
Yeah, that's insane. To me, that's insane.
Penn State's here has a 54% chance of winning compared to 46%, according to ESPN Analytics. They like the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I don't see this, Andy. I mean, the Oregon Ducks really put away some really good teams, and did steamroll some people too. They have the ability to do that. Obviously, Penn State did that too, but Maryland, Purdue, Washington, all that kind of stuff. It's just I like Oregon. I think they have the better playmakers, and I just believe it's going to be too fast of a game for Penn State to stick around with. So, nope. I like Oregon.
You heard it from Gibran.
Yep.
Lies, dirty lies, and statistics.
Yep.
You heard the horn. That means we're up against it, but we got to take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.